Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh, show me your soul, baby. I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Can't you see it's way past time? How explicit do I have to be? I mean, I spell it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you. I'll show you.
Good morning, y'all. Y'all looking good today. Yeah, you'd think it was another holiday coming up the way y'all look today. Good morning. Man, my spirit is filling up already, you guys. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments, and I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. I'm really excited. You know today's date. Look at that. 12/2/2021. That's a lot of twos. That's a lot of twos. You know, we love twos. My angel number is 4, and 2s is in between there. So I'm just so excited, you guys. I'm telling you what, I feel like someone turned on the spigots, just turned them on, and it's just pouring in. It's pouring in. Nothing is more important to me. You guys know how I feel about the Power of We Symposium. You guys know how I feel about everything about kids. You know, it's one thing that we all have in common. We were all one. You know, if we can remember, right? And that's where the journey begins for all of us. But unfortunately, sometimes that's where the journey ends for a lot of our kids, which are our resources. They're our futures. They're, you know, y'all, we have to be grateful that the ancestors that did what they did to get each of us to where we are, stayed in the game, you know, and we have to do that the best we can. Keep the doors open so these kids can stay in the game. Can I get an amen? Okay, so I said that because I'm setting it up, y'all. I'm setting it up. I'm not even going to any kind of news or anything today because I don't want to take any time away from this worthy conversation It's an illuminated one today for real, y'all, because there's so much that needs to be done, but there's still a lot that is being done that y'all need to know about. And today's guest is going to share a story about that very, very thing. But I want you guys to tune in today, really tune in, share this broadcast out. Okay. All the guests that come to Bathrobe Moments have great stories, but this one is just something special to me. It just is, and I hope it is for you all today. So share it out now. We need to get some folks up in here. My guest today is Donna Lee Reed, and actually, she came to my attention through one of my coaching clients, nurse Fallon Flowers. And that's just how God works. Let me tell y'all something. When you have your little meetings and stuff, look, just like now, you see all that sad stuff, like, y'all know y'all be looking all back. I do. When I'm on a Zoom call, so we got time to look all behind what's in the scene with somebody, look behind and see other things that are passion. That's what I do. I put clues. I put clues behind me because life puts clues all around us and in front of us. Because when we can see the things that are going on in the outside, they're usually clues that point to something very similar going on the inside. So I try to put stuff out there to tell people and show people to what's wonderful on the inside, because, that's how I made it through. That's how I made it through. I was blessed to have a social worker. My very first day in foster care, I'll never forget, Ann Hasselbaum. That was her name then. She was fresh out of college. She'd been on the streets 3 weeks after graduating, 3 weeks in her job. I was one of her first 5 charges. And I'll never forget the very first day when she dropped me off. Just, my life changed in a matter of hours. And she grabbed my hand and she said, if you're ever in trouble, when I come here to visit you, be a gentleman, walk me to my car always. Just squeeze my hand 2 times if you want me to come back and remove you. For whatever reason, I'll ask questions later. And I'm here today because of that. Because of that woman. So, some of you are familiar with my story, but if you're not, I wanted to give you just a little taste of it. And we're really blessed. And this is for you too. This isn't so, ooh, look at me. This is, ooh, look at us. Okay. That's what this is. So I'm just saying, I'm not bringing ego. So don't you bring yours, because it's about the story. It's about the opportunity within that lives behind our scars, y'all. Seriously, if we can talk about scars for just a second, I'm grateful. Because scars, first thing they do is they provide proof of healing, right? And then, the more we acknowledge them and talk about them and pay them the homage that they deserve, because every scar has a voice. Trust me, it's the story waiting for you to give it permission to beat, to have a heart, to give, that's what it's waiting on. So I did that one time so I could get from behind the shame, which I was carrying, of having had 22 mothers. And through the foster care system. I thought it was just my way of being therapeutic or something. I thought I would do it to be one and done. It wasn't one and done. It's never about just one thing, y'all. With God, it's never about one thing. He's going to take you through. And when he takes you through, it just doesn't mean from the front to the back. It means from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner. And when we do that, we change everything. We change everything. So come on, let's just take one look, and then we're going to get the guest in here because I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. Here's a little
On
bit.
July 4th, 1962.
Okay, now why don't I hear it?
I found myself
I'm going to leave
in
it
the
there.
lost and found of mankind.
See, when I do that, I can't do that. Okay.
Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item. And just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that someone will ever.
So, okay, that was real creepy kind of stuff going on. The internet. Let me just say this before we get Don in here. Y'all remember? Did y'all know in Chicago that all the internet was out? What was it? Saturday, because I had an event Saturday. Yeah, for like 11 hours. And my husband Brian and I, Dr. Brian, that's what I love. When I think, is this a crazy thought? I'm running past the doctor. And I said, honey, if they took the internet away from us and then we couldn't get gas, we'd be stuck. I'm gonna let that hang out there for me. Y'all think about that. Anything comes to mind, DM me, put it in the comments, something. Yeah, I think when we see, that's why while we can move around and do stuff just in case, we need to be doing what Donna Lee Reed is doing, and a lot of others, like all of you all out there. Let me tell you, I'm pulling up, I'm doing all this clicking around. You know what? Donna's got so many things going. She's a speaker, she's a coach. What she's doing to change the face of foster care and kids that are aging out. You know, I'm not even going to try to read the bio. I wouldn't do it justice. And those sometimes the words just aren't enough, right? In the streets, they say, you know, I can show you better than I can tell you. But there it is. So Donna, come on in here. Put your hearts into this. Lean in, tune in, share it out. Listen closely. And you all, come on, let's pour into each other. Here she comes. Donna Lee Reed. Here she comes, y'all. Oh, I'm feeling this one.
I am too. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm blessed. I'm telling you, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Because, man, when somebody comes in and can tell it like I know you're going to tell it, share it like I know you're going to share it, I get excited. Donna, just say hello. I'm going to let you just get started. Tell everybody who you are, where you're at in the world, and get right to it. Let's get right to it.
Thank you so much. And I am so happy to be here. And I even enjoyed what you were saying about what happens if the internet is gone, we don't have gas, and when we feel ourselves stuck, because we're going to touch on a lot of that today. So that was really great that you said that, because sometimes we have to stop and think, if we don't have, what do we do with what we do have? And we're just going to talk about that. And I'm so excited. I am Donna Lee Reed. I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, but the movement is across the country and needs to take place. I'm the founder of the organization Home for Me. Home stands for Hope, Opportunity, Mentoring, and Education, and it is a voice for teens in foster care. Our young people are aging out of the foster care system at alarming numbers. They're in there at alarming numbers, but the awareness needs to be raised for the ones that are aging out of the system on their 18th birthday. And that's one of the things that I would love to share today. What is happening and you and I both can speak to that. I was raised in foster care, but more so what happens on that 18th birthday when they age out of the system. And society says, because you're 18, you're an adult. So now go figure it out. And I tell you what, the world has to step up for these young people that did not ask to be in the system, but have found themselves, what you just said it, stuck. Mm-hmm. And stuck where if someone doesn't help them get to where they're going, how are they going to get there? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. But it's just so good to be here, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Donna. I'm not kidding. Let me just say, not much has changed, because even while you were talking it, I went back.
Yeah,
and I felt my heart kind of palpitating.
Yes.
I love when purpose and God just reconnects you. You know, the art of remembering, that's time travel, y'all. When you can go back to the moment, but see, we run out of these places so quickly, you know, but you got to be willing to go back to be remembered in those moments, because just now when that happened to me, I remember it was like almost dead man walking, you know, like you were going to the chair or something. My birthday, July 1980, when I turned 18, because I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't. And you know, Donna, it was 1 month before That's Up With People came through our town. And that was a big group back then in the 80s that they performed. You know, they did Super Bowl halftimes, and you were ambassadors for the country, doing music and stuff. So anyway, they come through and they do an assembly at the high school, and then you come back that night, you know, with your families and see the show. Well, I went by myself, and because I was in a congregate care, went by myself, and then went back that night to the show. And then they said, if you're interested in joining the troupe, you can audition after the show. And all they did was interview you. And
Right.
2 days later, I got a overnight thing because there was only 3 weeks before you had to be there. And it was $5,000. And I'm not kidding you. And they said, you made it in. You know, so I had like 3 weeks, and I did a rockathon, and I told people I was getting out of foster care, and I did a rockathon, and people pledged. I got my friends to rock, and the people pledged money for every hour that we rocked. I made $5,000, and then the newspaper matched it. So there I was, and I went off to Up With People. But if I hadn't had Up With People to go to, because I had to be 18 before July 6th, and my birthday is July 4th.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And listen, you just said something that's one of my dreams, and we're going to have to talk about it after. When you said the rockathon, I really believe that there needs to be a tell-a-thon, as they used to have, where we need to tell the stories of these young people, and we need to, the world needs to know, society needs to know that what these young people are dealing with, but and then what happens in the process, and then when they age out of the system. And we need to raise what these young people need. We need to raise that during that time. I would love to work with you on that, and we make that a national moment.
I'm serious. Anything.
I'm so serious. Because listen, you already you started. Listen, I've been wanting to do something, because raising awareness is so key. Because most of the time when I'm speaking to someone, they have no idea. They really don't. And if that's understood, if it hasn't crossed your path, what happens to young people, or foster care has never been, a table conversation. You just don't know.
Donna, come on, because here's what, because you're a speaker, so I know you're a great storyteller. Here. Take them inside of an experience from one of these kids that you know about, why, what is it? That's the ember. That's what you see when you go to sleep, and you see when you wake up. Those kids that ride in the car with you when you ain't got nobody in the car but yourself.
Yes. So, okay, I'm going to give you just 3 very quick stories. Just in the last 2 weeks, I received a call from a gentleman who we have a big Christmas event coming up for them, because Home for Me does family-oriented events during the year, so that we stay in contact with them as family, not as a social worker, not as an employee, but as family. And so we have these events. So we have one coming up, and I received a call from a gentleman who said to me, he said, listen, he said, I need to get involved. I need to do something. And I said, what, I said, okay, great. I was all excited. And he said, but let me tell you what brought me to this. He said, my son was playing basketball. He came home. He said, Dad, I know you told me not to fight. He said, taught me not to fight. But he said, there's this kid, I want to fight him. He said, because when he comes to the court, he doesn't, play. He just, he does things, like he gets the ball, he gets the ball, he throws it out of the court. And he said, and he said, we're tired of that. So this friend of mine went down to the court to see, hey, what's going on. He ultimately learned that the young man is in foster care, 13 years old, in foster care. And every day that he would get back to the house he was staying in, not the home, but the house that he was staying in, they would just tell him, go outside. And then he'd have to go figure out what to do, where to go, and that kind of thing. And no one would play with him. And so when he got to the court, his thing was getting attention some kind of way. Focus on me. I'm screaming out. And so when my friend found out that that's what it was, he was like, we got to do something. Because when I said, where's your home? He said, I don't have a home. He said, what about your parents? He said, I don't have parents. And then he said these words. He said, they make me go outside every day, but once a month, they make sure they get their check. So in other words, this young man knew that that's what he was worth to them.
Right.
So that's just a story that happened 2 weeks ago. I received a call. I was in tears literally a few days ago when I received a call that there is a young lady at Fayetteville State who is dropping out because she is by herself. She has nowhere, and this was right before Thanksgiving, nowhere to go on Thanksgiving, no one to talk to, no one,
Right.
no guidance.
Right.
Right. She had no one and was just getting deeper and deeper into depression until she dropped out. She dropped out of school. So we're working to see what we can do with her. And then literally, I volunteer at one of my friend's churches every Tuesday and Thursday where he feeds the homeless. And we showed up one morning and there was a young man that was standing outside in the cold, no socks, no anything. He had made his way from Florida to Charlotte and didn't know what he was going to do, where he was going to go. He didn't know anything. And he was just lost. And he didn't want to talk about what had happened to him. He didn't want to talk about, what he was going through. He just felt like nowhere is my destination. And so this is just a pinch of the story. Are there good stories? Absolutely. And if you don't mind, I would love to share mine and to share where this passion came from. But my mother, my biological mother, left me in the hospital when I was born. When she told them she was coming back, but she never did, which was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And when they began to place me in Caucasian homes, thinking I was white, at the time being a brand new baby, until ultimately, then this was in the 50s, until ultimately they discovered that I was not white and they weren't going to, do with that. I ended up in an orphanage. My mother, who raised me, my mother went to the orphanage via one of her friends who was a social worker. And she kept saying, come, I want you to see this little girl. My mother kept saying, for what? Because my mother was in her mid-40s, had raised her son. And so she said one day she just went, okay, let me just go. And she said she walked in the door and it took one look. And when she saw me, she called my father and said, we're about to have a little girl. Oh. And that was the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me. The greatest thing. So when I turned 18, when I tell you growing up, I had everything. I had the discipline, I had the love, I had the education, I had everything. That there's nothing I was lacking. But when I was turned 18, I thought I was grown because I still was under the rules of my parents. You got to be in by 12, you got to do this, you got to do that. I had 2 jobs, a car, bank account, I figured I'm grown. And so I left home. And I didn't go around the corner like they thought I was going to go. I went from Hartford, Connecticut to Beaufort, South Carolina, where we used to go see my grandmother every year for vacation. And so this time now I'm getting on this bus because I met some people that were in the military that were my age and on their own. And that looked good to me. Tried to pass the military test, couldn't pass it because I never took algebra in school and couldn't pass that part of it. It wasn't meant to be, but the military really intrigued me and I wanted to be there. So I went down there. Mm-hmm. When I got there, I took a Greyhound. I called my mother collect, of course. This was from a telephone booth. That young people don't know what a telephone booth is nowadays. And I said, and when my mother...
Telephone booth, or was it a dime telephone booth?
It was a telephone booth, but I didn't have to put money in. I think I hit the number and just called collect.
You see what I was trying to do? Because
I see. We went way back.
Dime.
I remember.
Okay, go ahead.
Way back in the telephone booth, but it was a dime during the time. Let me say that.
Okay.
And so when I called my mother, she said, in the 40 years I've been married to your father, I never seen him cry till you walked out that door. So since you think you're grown, you go figure it out. And she hung up on me. Now, I literally stood in that telephone booth, afraid to disconnect from everything I knew in the world. Everything I knew I could fall back on if things did not work out, and everything I could fall forward to when things were successful. Mm-hmm. And I was so afraid. I just stood there and cried 1,000 miles away from everything I knew. But then what kicked in was determination. Determination. what I had been taught. I had been raised to be successful. I was determined, and that kicked in. So I hung up that phone and I stepped out of that telephone booth, determined to be successful in life. A few weeks later, I met a Marine, and just 3 months later, we said I do to each other, not knowing what that meant at all. He didn't know how to be a husband. I didn't know how to be a wife, but we said I do. Now, I want to say this. My parents were only mad for 5 minutes, but I was afraid to call back collect. So I didn't find out until, some weeks later that they were okay. But by then, what had determined and redefined my purpose was knowing what happens to young people when they age out of the system and have nothing and no one. And that defined my future that day in that telephone booth, that if there was anything I could ever do, I wanted to do it.
Wow.
Now, mind you, I'm their age, but still I knew determination would say I would be successful and I would need to be there for those that, would need me. So I got married at 18, thinking that that was the way. 5 days before I turned 19 pregnant, 21st baby, 21 second baby, 22 third baby, 23 single parent, because he was abusive. Every day he beat me up and every night he beat me down. And literally, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had never seen divorce. I didn't know what it was like. I had never seen abuse. I didn't know what it was like. And now I'm experiencing someone beating me up at will whenever they felt like it daily because they could. And I realized after a while, this is not the life I want to live. I remember my mother the day I got married, because like I said, they were okay. And I remember they came down to South Carolina and they really came to get me. My father said, okay, pack your stuff. You're going back. And I didn't want to go back. And I was like, not that it was bad, but it was just like, hey, I'm grown now, right? I don't want to be under the authority of my parents.
I'm out there now.
I'm out here now,
Yeah.
And so when he said, pack your bags, I didn't want to upset them again. And I remember crying, and I remember telling the person that I married, I remember saying, man, now I gotta, go back. And he said, well, do you want to get married? And I was like, wait a minute, solution, right? Here is somebody who's ready to step up and be a solution to me not going back home, even though things were good there, but wanting to be out here. And here's a solution. So I just said it, 23, single parent with 3 babies. And so literally, because of how bad I was being abused, and because I knew this was not the life for me, nor did I want to live this life, I literally had to escape from him. And it took me 9 months to plot and plan to escape from him, to save up the money and to get away from him. I actually wrote a book about it. I tell the whole story in there about just everything, but that's included in there. And when I got back to Connecticut, because I ended up in a few more states because he was in the military. And when I left from him from Texas. Mm-hmm. And literally, I escaped from him and got, I tell you, Lauren, if he had looked in his rear view mirror when he left for work that morning, he would have seen the whole neighborhood coming to help me move out of a 3-bedroom home. I had plotted and carefully planned to get away from him. When he came home that day, there was a key, a garbage bag, and a note. And that note said, I am gone and I'm never looking back. And I drove a U-Haul truck with my babies on the front seat from Texas to Connecticut. It took me 11 days. The chapter in my book is called 3 Babies in a Truck. Wow. And I left from him and I went back to Connecticut because my mother said, you need to come back here. I didn't tell her at first what I was going through. I didn't want to tell them what I was going through. But one day when I was washing dishes, and I just thought about the fact that my body would shake at 4 o'clock every day. One day at 20 after 12, I looked at the clock at a glance, thought it was 4 o'clock, and my body started shaking because that's how bad he used to beat me every day. And when he got off from work at 4. And so this one day I was washing dishes. I'll never forget it. And I remember the words my mother said to me as the tears literally were falling into the water where I was washing dishes. And I remember her saying to me on the day I said I do, she said, Donna, she said, you don't have to get married, to be okay. She said, but if this is what you want to do, I want you to know that marriage may not be a bed of roses, but if he ever mistreats you or puts his hands on you, take it as long as you want to take it, and then don't take it anymore. It literally took me 5 years and 3 babies to hear my mother's words loud and clear and say, I don't want to take this. I thought I had to stay because I had children. I thought I had to stay because I'd never witnessed divorce. I thought I had to stay for other people. But I realized that my children were going to be minus a parent one way or another. Either he was going to take me out, or he was going to go to jail or something. And I knew that I'd rather see them in 2 separate homes than to see them in one parent, because one is no longer there. And so that is what made me leave and know that I deserved better. I was worth more, and that he was not going to be that defining moment. I say that because so many of our young people are in abusive relationships or abusive households. And I want you to know you don't have to stay there. I want you to know that you can get out of there. That's one thing I want you to know. And I want those that are hearing this now to know that it's not a bed of roses for a lot of our young people that are in the foster care system, that are in a home that they didn't ask to be in. This is not a bed of roses for them. And so that is why it takes those of us who understand that to be there for them, to be that voice, to be that consistency in their lives. What is the consistency piece? When our young people are sent, you said 22 homes, didn't you? Yeah. When we're sent from home to home, a lot of times we're not with the same maybe social work or same atmosphere, same school. The consistency is broken every time. And every time we're talking about a sense of abandonment. Abandonment. You've done it again. Most of the time, they don't even know why they're having to move from place to place. They're just told, get your stuff.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And they have no control over anything. So that consistency in that life to say, I'm here and you can call me. And like she said, squeeze my hand and believe me, I will get you out of here. And so, yes. So please, there's hands out here that need to be squeezed. We're ready for hands to squeeze.
Now I see why they make commercials. Because see, you've had folks getting up, running up and down the stairs. I felt like I should have started speaking in tongues. It was getting to me that much. So I'll say this. Listen, y'all, I told you. I went in and said at the beginning of this, I said, share it out. This is something special. I told y'all, see, now, if you didn't share it out, you have a chance now during this brief commercial break. Share it out. Don't forget. Listen, you're wondering where that whatever it is you need. I wonder how this is going to turn out next month or next week. Seal that fate right now by sharing this out. Don't you know by now the manner in which you bless other people is the exact manner in which you will be blessed. Share it out. We'll be back in 30 seconds. to today's installment, everybody, to Bathrobe Moments. We're here. Wow. Take a breath, y'all. Oof, right? I told you, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. Listen, you guys, real quick, just got to get it in. You know what I was going to say? V8, love it. All the vegetables, 60 calories. Go down the juice aisle. I'm not wasting any more time on it. Just, I got to do this part, though. They get mad if you don't drink something. For real, y'all know I love it for real. So there we go. We ain't got to play with it today. Donna's back there. I'm probably getting in trouble for that, but no, I'm not even going to claim it. I wanted to get right back to it. We've been seeing, it's been scrolling the entire time along the bottom. Home for Me. So first of all, that's an interesting name. Home for Me. Comcast. See, they just for sure, but I don't just blame it on Comcast. I be talking to Cletus. Anytime, that's how you know you doing right.
That's right.
Something when they fight hard to get in the way. Where you going? Trying to do all this and go on somewhere now. Go on, Cletus. Go on. See, that's why you got to banish stuff. Rebuke it, y'all. We're back. So listen, where now? Shoot. There was so much going on. Where exactly?
Home for Me. You were getting ready to talk about Home for Me.
The name. I was thinking, yes. I was going to do a nonprofit for that. I would probably go, and I'm talking about the kids, I'd be like, Home for You. But you said a Home for Me. So when you read it, so that's like the kids, you knew who you were talking to. You weren't talking to the money to make the home. You were talking to the kid that needs the home.
That's right. That's right. And let me share. HOME stands for Hope, Opportunities, Mentoring, and Education, which is what we provide. And we do it everything in a home setting so that they know that there is a home for me. And right. one of our mantras is, because of you, there is a home for me. And that's the piece that speaks to those that pour in, those that support, those that do, what is necessary. Yeah. When I think about my mother walking into that orphanage and calling my father, and when I think about me being who I am, the words, because of you, I can, because of you, I will, because of you, I did, and because of you, I am. And so I really dedicate everything to who I am, to my mother, Mary Johnson, who walked in that orphanage and gave me a chance in life, gave me an opportunity.
Yes. Give them flowers, give them. So Donna,
yes.
We're looking at some gear. Tell us about this. I love it. It's urban-y. It's just tell us what we're looking at. Okay,
I will. So let me say this very quickly. So when I left him, I ended up on welfare. And that was the last thing I ever dreamed of in my life. But I literally was gifted and talented when it came to creativity, when it came to my hands, when it came to my thoughts. I was very gifted, and I really believed in using your gifts and your skills and your talent. And so when my girls became teenagers or young, they were young teenagers, God had given me a vision for these two little stick figures on the front of a tote bag. And at this point in time, Lord had blessed me with adopting my own daughter, teenager. So at this time, I had 4 daughters. And when the vision came and they started the business, well, I should say when I started them, because when I first told the girls I saw this vision of these 2 little stick figures, they were like, yeah. But I made them do 30 tote bags for an event I was setting up at. And when I did, they caught the vision. And when they caught the vision, we began to sell out wherever we would go. So they called it tea bags because all 4 of my daughters' names begin with T, and they started with bags. So they called them tea bags. And then when I saw everything that was knocking at my door, because I have 4 daughters and all these guys were knocking on my door, I would come on now. I was pulling them in rather than pulling my girls outside. Yeah. So I was at home that everybody wanted to come to. And so I would ask the young men, so what are you doing? What do you like to do? What are your skills? What are your talents? When my girls became older teenagers and young adults, we turned Tea Bags, the business, into Tea Bags, the organization, Teach Boys and Girls Success. Teach Boys and Girls Success. And we began to teach young people how to develop their skill and talents, teenagers, their skills and talents, with an entrepreneurial emphasis. And we've been doing this for over 20 years. And then what happened was, when my passion for the youth that were in foster care, teens in foster care, aging out, began to just overwhelm me, then we, at 1 year after the National Family Empowerment Conference, which is something we host every year, 1 year after the conference, we were debriefing the conference, and I said, yeah, but now what? These young people are still aging out. And that's what gave birth to Home for Me. Because what do they need? They need a home. They need hope. They need opportunities. They need mentoring, and they need education. And they need to be prepared on that 18th birthday. So let me share this, because I know our time is ticking, and I could sit here and talk to you, and I could share.
I'm going to tell them you keep talking. It's your, hey, that's why you're here.
Yes.
I'm going to share your website. You just keep talking, and I'll be scrolling through it so they can see it. And we can
absolutely
one stone. So yeah,
absolutely.
All you
and also I want to give an opportunity for those to give if they would like to give. And I want to give this. I hope that says Tea Bags for Me. Tea Bags Home for Me is the Cash App, or you could go to the website. And let me tell you why it is so important. One of the things that we believe and we give to every teenager that we can come in contact with that's in foster care is a bed in a bag. Why is that important?
Did you say
when these
bed in a bag?
Bed in a bag, the whole ensemble, for the sheets, the pillowcase, the comforter, all of that. It's in one bed. I mean, you purchase it. It's called a bed in a bag. And it is so important, because when they are going from place to place, they're going in on someone else's sheets, someone else's room, someone else's place, someone else's facility. And let me make this clear as well. A lot of people think that when you say foster care, they're in a home. Most of our teens that are in foster care are in group homes or institutionalized living.
Right.
They're not in a 2-parent or 1-parent home. They are in what you're talking about, employees and social workers are their guidance.
Right.
You with me? You know that.
Get on that one for a second, because I want that to sink in, because that's where I left from. And I'm going to tell you something. And then I ended up going to jail, and then I ended up going to prison. And every time I went to the next stage, it felt so familiar. It's the same. The beds are now. The gray or the off-white paint with the big brick wall. All of that stuff. It was grooming my mindset and breaking my spirit, all at the same time.
All at the same time. Listen, Lord, I'm so thankful that you are a voice speaking what we are trying to let society and help them understand, that when they are in those situations and in those places, they have to go by the rules. They're not even, there's slim opportunity for them to develop their own personalities, because you've got 8 people in a place or more than that. You have to do everything they do. You have to go everywhere they go.
Yeah.
You have you can't be a kid. You can't be a young person. You
No.
can't do your thing.
No.
And it's really disheartening. But watch this. So our thing is to make sure that they all have the bed in a bag.
Yeah.
Also, we make sure that they have a filled suitcase, brand new suitcase filled with sheets, towels, and I'm talking about nice stuff. I'm not talking about
bag, y'all, not a trash.
I'm not talking hotel like towel. I'm talking nice towel set, pillow. I want you to think about it. You have to go onto somebody else's pillow. Think about it.
Yes. Smelling
And
like
so we make sure, yes, that they have the pillow, an umbrella, something just that simple is an umbrella. Who do you think, what young person, if they were to get $15, they're going to run and say, let me go get an umbrella? No, they need every dime they get. So these are things that we make sure that they have, things that you and I take for granted every single day. And it's so important. And also one of the things when especially where you all are in the North, is a blanket. Now, do you know, I found out last year that a lot of young people don't not know what a blanket is. They know what a throw is, and they know what a comforter is, but they did not know there was such thing as a blanket that covered a whole bed, nice, warm, cozy blanket. And we would rather them have a blanket they could kick off if it's too hot than to not have one and it's too cold.
right.
Because they can't control the temperature where they are. They have very little control over anything at that point in time in their lives. And that is why the dignity of a suitcase. They are given black garbage bags and said, here, put your stuff in, you're moving. You're going to another location. It's bad enough that they have to go from place to place, not knowing what's happening. Now society has equated them to a garbage bag. Do you know what that must feel like? And so we make sure they get a brand new suitcase. The other thing is we just make sure that what they receive is new, because they get enough hand-me-downs and hand-me-overs. And so we make sure that they know it's new. One of the other things, and I really can't stress this enough, if you have a heart to give, please give, so that we can make sure they all have a $25 gift card. Why is that important? Because a lot of times people say, well, here's toiletries, here's this and that. We don't know their skin, their hair. We don't know what they actually need.
Right.
Or if they want to buy themselves a toy or a hat or whatever it is they may want to get themselves, so that they can get their own gift.
That gives them a choice of how I'm going to spend it, what I'm going to use it on. They get to choose.
That's right. And it's so important. And then one of the other things, and I want to share this because I'm so excited about it.
Okay.
We just published this cookbook. It has recipes in it that are very simple for young people that are by themselves or home by themselves or aged out and on their own. Very simple recipes from the heart for the heart. It's from the heart of those that understand what they're going through, and it's for their heart because they're heart healthy recipes. And when I tell you this is a fantastic book, even this person right here, aged out of foster care, and she is now in her 50s and she still doesn't have all that she needs emotionally and family wise. We have recipes in here. Here's a young person that is at culinary school at Livingstone College. That's here. We have another one who came from Detroit and is now, she's down here at Livingstone College, and she is aged out of foster care. And the struggle is real. And we make sure that she's okay. The struggle is real.
Real.
And so
and there's COVID. These kids, that's another thing.
Yes.
Aging out
and
for COVID.
Aging out in COVID. When COVID hit,
Oh.
these young people that are in college, because one of our goals is to get them into college. But I want to say this, keep in mind, they are still homeless while they're in college, because when that dorm closes for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for the summer, where do they go? Where do they go? We're developing a program called Home for the Holidays, so that we can connect them with people that would say, hey, they can stay here. Now, one of the things, we're at the final stages of it.
Yay!
Yes, and you know, you don't have to adopt. They're not there all the time. They are coming home for the holiday to a home.
Right now, it's time for a call to action. I got
to action.
I got to do a call to action, y'all, right now. You know, I mean, I'm saying this, Donna, your organization isn't at the point where you have volunteers outside of the grocery store. Not to take anything from the Salvation Army, but I'm gonna say the Salvation Army because I lived in that shelter. We're talking about something that could have saved me from that shelter. So I'm
right
on that right now, and I'm gonna tell you something. I would rather have had a bed in a bag than end up in that shelter. I would rather have had the one of these things that you can sponsor would have changed everything. Just the choice of having a suitcase, or how I'm going to spend $5. I'm sitting here going, it still feels. I still know what it feels like to have that. Donna, I'm telling you what you're doing. You're an anointed person. Your team are anointed people. This is an anointed movement. And I'm just so grateful that you came into my space and that we are now putting this out for you guys. You guys right now, whatever you can do. It's a 1 cup of coffee from a couple Starbucks. I don't know. I know it's expensive. I know. Whatever it is. Think about it. When you get hungry, what do you get to do? You get to go into your own refrigerator. Have you ever lived someplace or stayed someplace where everything you did felt like an intrusion?
Yes.
Where, none of the smells smelled familiar. You know how your house smells like you in your spirit? You know how when something needs to be done and you're slicking or slacking or something, and somebody says, you might want to do better because they care. I remember the biggest noise in my world the first week in foster care was the absence of my mom saying, "Where's your homework? Bring in, let me check it." Time to get ready, take a bath, go to bed. You got to get up for school. All that care, all that stuff stopped. Because nobody cares. So I'm just saying, I know this, and I'm telling you, I'm going there as soon as the show's over. I'm going there. So that's it. It's on y'all. Do something, and if you can't, send it to somebody you know that can. Just do it. Just do it. Because when you do it, that thing that you need, I'm not talking about what we want. That's our wish list. But what we need comes with a plan. The master's plan is behind our needs. When you think you have nothing, or I don't know if I can let go of this little bit, and you give it away anyway, everything you were concerned about has already been paid for, taken care of, shipped, overnight express, and plus even more. Yes. The manner in which we bless others. The manner in which we bless others. I'm telling you. Donna, so tell people, what else can people do? What is your greatest need today?
Literally, our greatest need is finances. We need funding. If you know organizations, if you know national funding, because we are expanding nationally, and to be able to provide for these young people, and to be able to the Leg Up on Life program, the facilitators that we bring in, those all need to be funded. And so funding is really one of our greatest needs. But during this holiday, if you could donate the bed in the bag, the suitcase, any of that, and you can do it financially, we'll make sure they get it without a doubt. On December the 18th, we are having the ultimate holiday celebration. We do it every year for them. And the ultimate holiday celebration allows them, again, that family atmosphere. so that they can just celebrate and just take their minds off of what it is that they're going through and have a great time. During the summer, we have the ultimate birthday party for teens in foster care. Why is that important? Because a lot of them don't have a birthday party specifically for them, just their own birthday party. And so the birthday party and all of the events that we have during the year, we are giving them these items. We average 120, 150. And I'm going to say this, and because we're going big, we're going bold to reach young people across the country. I want to come to your city and have the ultimate birthday party so that we can serve the young people that are in your city.
See?
Or I want you to come here. But we would love, love, love to come to your city and have that ultimate birthday party. It's so important for them to know that we are here.
Oh,
and I'm telling you, the Leg Up on Life program, if you have young people right now that just need that support, reach out to us on homeforme.org and let us know. Register them, and it's no cost to them, but there is a cost, and that's why we need funding. We would dare not say to any young person, this is what it costs.
Yes.
But we would say to you, that these young people need this, and there is a cost to everything that is done. I used to say, well, don't worry, we got this. But now I need to say, because of how major the need is and how expanded it is, 23 to 25,000 teens age out of foster care every single year. Every year. 70% of teens that are in foster care desire to attend college. Less than 3% of them will graduate with a 4-year degree. Why? Lack of guidance, finances, consistency, and by losing hope. They will not graduate. Wait, I'm sorry. And the main thing, housing. Where will they live? And so if they have to age out and worry about those things, how can they worry about what classes or how they're going to pay for their college or how they're going to do whatever? We're trying to go to Congress right now to say that if they want to go to Harvard or Howard, they should be able to go to the college of their choice, not the college that the state says they have to go to because they were in foster care. Because they were in foster care, we ought to make sure they go to whatever college they choose. Right. And we ought to be that support system to make sure everything they need is taken care of. The same we would do if we gave birth to them. Because guess what? They are our children. They are our young people. And 18 does not make anyone I know an adult.
Woof. There it is, Donna. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. As we get out of here today, you guys don't stop the wheels of what you feel moving within you right now. I know you feel it. I feel it through you. Don't just stop if you can't help. Think about the person that can. Again, you can change someone's literal life.
Yes.
Right now. So I want you to take a look, write this down. There it is. Hashtag Teabags Home for Me. That's the Cash App. Go donate. The link is, you see it there. Get over to the website for homeforme.org. Get over there, donate. There it is on the screen. Hit that up. Help with what you see on the screen. I'm going to leave that up. If you have any questions, you get lost and you need a little assistance, DM me, reach out. I'll get you back on track. I'm going right at the conclusion of the show and make my donation, and I'm hoping you will as well. Donna, thank you so much. A true blessing. You're welcome back anytime. And for the rest of you out there, you know what we do now. We go out into the world. We've just been poured into, and now we're going to pour into someone else. Don't ever buy that hype that you need to write your story every day using all 26 letters of the alphabet. You don't. You're already great because you are a creature of design. You were made on purpose with purpose. So live within your purpose. Take everything you are, which is already great, to greater. Take everything you are that is already bold to bolder. Take everything you are that is kind to kinder. Get up and look for something that the world has never seen, and that'll force you to do something you've never done. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow morning out front on the front porch. Our guest tomorrow, David Verdeman. Wait till you see what he is doing. Now, if you're a nonprofit and you want to find out how to take your nonprofit all the way to the top, this guy sits on boards of some of the most successful nonprofits in the country. Find out tomorrow how he's done it. That'll be 8:00 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you. Be the blessing, receive the blessing, and be the best version of yourself. But Donna, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody. Have a great one. This was wonderful. This was so good, Donna. This was so good.
Yes, God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Have the best day ever. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye, all.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time.